Southern Fried Gaming Expo 2019, and with me is Mr. Waison Cheng. He is a game designer, he is a software engineer, all for Stern Pinball.
Yes. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and how do you like this show so far?
This show is amazing. It's so well run, everyone's been really friendly, and everyone's having a good time.
And what do you do for Stern exactly? I mean, I know I listed those titles, but what has your history with Stern been so far?
So I've been with Stern coming up on 9 years now. I've made many games with Stern. My role is a little bit all over the place. It starts with design to programming. I write scripts. I help storyboard our artwork. I'm a representative of Stern, so I come to shows and I meet the people who buy our games, who play our games, and are interested in our culture.
Nice. So I have to tell you guys, when we were setting up on Thursday night, Waison was going game by game on all 40 of our Stern games, pulling the glass off, checking to make sure all the mechs and toys and everything worked and flipped perfectly. And we were trying to drag him away, and they had to kick him out. Security came and had to kick him out and said, you have to leave, because he was so obsessed with getting these games perfectly. So thank you for that. And why is that important to you?
I want the customers to have the best experience at one of these shows. These are, beautiful games, and there's so many talented people who work on it and try to make it, as perfect as can be. And the shipping process is a little rough on such a complex mechanical device, and things fall off, things get shaken up. But
shipping.
Yeah, but those things happen, and I just want to make sure that there wasn't something that happened along the way that was unfortunate. Most of the time that doesn't happen, but you have to double check, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone can enjoy our games the way they're meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah, we really appreciate that passion, and I saw it in your eyes. We were trying to drag him away. Just eat dinner. Just eat dinner for 30 minutes, and he wouldn't leave. He refused to.
I know. You actually called in like the most impressive weapon. You got the puppy dog eyes, like, please come. I couldn't turn that away. That was hard. That was hard on me.
But we got it all done. We have an awesome booth thanks to Stern and Marco and Classic Game Room Expos. What have you done in the past for Stern? So like X-Men, right, was a game you worked on at WWE?
Yes. So I started at Stern in July of 2011, and I came in at the end of Tron, beginning of Transformers. The games that I was lead for was X-Men and WWE. X-Men is my favorite project of all time, obviously.
Why?
Being as biased as possible. Well, aside from like my love of X-Men in general, the IP, it's, I collected the comics, I'm big into the geek culture, so it was really a passion project for me. WWE, I watched a lot of wrestling, back when I was a child in the 80s, and then in the late 90s when I was in college. So, that was an extremely fun project. Got to talk to Michael Cole and Jerry the King Lawler, and they were so much fun to work with. They're just so talented. They just nailed every one of their lines for the game in one shot. And Vince McMahon lent his voice to the game, which he never does. He doesn't do that for the video games. He doesn't do that for any out appearance other than for WWE Pinball, which was really exciting.
How did you guys convince him to do that, Vince McMahon?
He volunteered. He was so excited to have a WWE pinball machine, he volunteered his voice. They were like, you cannot give this to anyone else, because he never lends his voice to anything. It was really exciting.
So how does that work behind the scenes with Stern? Like, do you get to pick which themes you work on or which licenses you want to go after, and you kind of pitch it to an executive committee? Or does it just serendipitously happen that you worked on these games?
Without going into too much detail, there's a pool of games that we either have licensed or would like to license, and those are available to our designers to pick and choose from. Or occasionally a designer will go out of their way to say, I want this particular license, and we'll see if we can get it or not.
And so on the software engineering side, tell me a little bit about that.
The way I like to describe it is we do everything that makes the game fun. So we turn on the lights, make it blink and flash when they're supposed to. We do your scoring. We make the toys work when they're supposed to work. We do all the speech and sound so it's entertaining to you so you know what's going on. All the rules, all the things you have to accomplish, all your end goals, that is done by the software team. And it's a lot of design that's involved with it. It starts at the very beginning when the playfield's designed to try to hammer out home what rules you want to do and how you want to what story do you want to tell, how you're going to theme it. So it's really interesting from start to finish. Otherwise, it would just be a box of coils and moving parts with no interaction.
Yeah, that's a lot. So stories and everything like that. So you definitely bring a lot to the table across the board for Stern. How did you get involved with them?
So I have been a game developer for coming up on 15 years now. I started out making Game Boy and DS games for little children.
Hey, I play those games.
They're super fun. They're really interesting. They're fun, simple games, and it was a good starting off point because you learn the fundamentals of what makes a game fun and what on a base level, because kids they're not stupid, but they're not stupid. They understand what's fun and interesting, and they need things to be simple at the same time. So it was a good way of a good introduction on how to design a game. And then I moved to Chicago and was working for Incredible Technologies, which is one of the oldest arcade companies around, and doing coin op and making updates for Golden Tee Golf. And across from me in my cube sat George Gomez. And at the time he was doing cabinet designs for them for their slot machines. And when he became vice president of Stern, he asked me if I wanted a job. And I was like, yeah, I want a job.
Where do you, Waison, see pinball going in the future?
Well, in the immediate future, we're going to eventually have our games online so that people can play their games, play in tournaments, maybe post their scores for specific games, and we'll keep leaderboards or stats on players or some variation of those, and it'll be so interesting because people get to customize their play with the games.
And you see pinball growing and growing and growing and growing?
And growing and growing. It's so big. No, it's just been this really, really sharp, steady climb since I started. And it kind of makes me happy that I was at the forefront of the rebirth of pinball.
Your passion for pinball truly reads when we just see you working on games all weekend long and the way you talk about them in your panels. So thank you for everything you do for us.
No, you guys are great. I would do anything for you guys. You guys are awesome.
And by you guys, he means the pinball community.